Scorpio, this is your week ahead astrology forecast from Astrology Motivation by Born Without Boundaries. This is for the week of May 2nd to the 8th, 2023. And what I'm going to go over is the major planetary aspects and transits and how they relate to your natal sun. So we're going to go over the major transits and aspects that are going to impact everybody. And then we're going to whittle it down more specifically to how they're going to specifically affect Scorpios, or those points in the sky that Scorpios should be paying particular interest to. And then we're going to whittle it down to specifically how it will impact your natal suns. And to get really precise, or as precise as I can without knowing where your sun is actually located, is to rely on you knowing where your sun is located. What do I mean by that? I mean that every single zodiac sign has 30 degrees because it's one of 12 on a 360-degree circle. So it has 30 degrees to its name. So in Scorpio, there is 30 degrees, 0 to 29 degrees Scorpio. If your natal sun is located somewhere between 0 and 9 degrees Scorpio, you are in the first decan or group of 10 degrees of Scorpio. And so I'm going to refer to you guys as Scorpio 1. If your natal sun is somewhere between 10 and 19 degrees Scorpio, your natal sun is located in the second decan of Scorpio, and so I'll refer to you guys as Scorpio 2s. And then if your natal sun is located somewhere between 20 and 29 degrees Scorpio, your natal sun is located in the third decan of Scorpio, and so I'll refer to you guys as Scorpio 3. I definitely suggest that you listen to the whole video, because you'll notice, especially if you don't know where your natal sun is, but you know where your birthday is, I can estimate about what dates correlate to the different decans, but that won't be exact because the dates change every year. Scorpio season will begin and end on different days each year. Around the same place, it will definitely begin and end, but it does toggle. So the decans and what dates they are change from year to year. So the most accurate is to just know what degree your natal sun is located on, and you can find that out by getting a free natal chart online. No, this isn't an advertisement. You just search for it, and free natal chart. Bunch of websites do it. You'll need your birth date, birth time, and birthplace. And then with all that all of that is on your birth certificate. And with all that information, you can just plug it in and it'll spit it out, and you'll know exactly where all your planets are located. So let's start with the big aspects or transits that are happening this week. There are two major ones that are impacting everybody between May 2nd and 8th. The first is the full moon. So there's a full moon on May 5th, and that is a full moon in Scorpio. The sun has transited into Taurus, so a full moon is when the moon is in direct opposition to the sun. So you know that if your natal sign is in, so if your sun is in Scorpio and your moon is in Taurus, then you were born around a full moon, either the day before, day after, or day of. FYI. So this is a full moon in Scorpio because the sun is in a Taurus. And this full moon is marked particularly by the fact that the sun is always a part of a full moon because it's the relationship between the moon and the sun. This sun is conjunct to Uranus when this happens. Uranus is a really interesting energy, especially conjunct the sun, because it's sort of bringing brilliance to life, thinking outside of the box, liking and enjoying things that are different, and maybe in some ways purging, because that is the full moon. We do release around the full moon. Anything that is sort of not, like almost a time to embrace and get all those feelings in us that would be obstacles to embracing, feeling good about those oddities about ourselves, just to get them out of the way, to really embrace those aspects of who we are that are odd or that are surprising. This could also be a really brilliant breakthrough once we are able, some big release or some big, maybe even announcement could be made on this day. So this is a full moon in Scorpio, which will directly impact you guys. I'll tell you exactly who it's going to impact the most, but I think it'll directly impact all of us. The full moons always do. We also have another major transit this week, and that is Venus enters Cancer, and that is on May 7th. So it's at the very, very end of this week after the full moon. Venus entering Cancer from Gemini makes it a lot more romantic. And I remember when Venus entered Gemini from Taurus, I told you guys, I said, Venus is not that romantic in Gemini. She's more turned on by intellect and thought and friendship and talking to each other. I said, if you really want a long-term relationship, be friends now, make friends now, and then the commitment can come when Venus goes into Cancer. Because Venus in Cancer is very, very compatible with Venus in Taurus. She is actually exalted in Cancer. She feels real good when she's there. And no, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. That's right. But Venus feels good in Cancer. I'm sorry for misspeaking. She is romantic, and she is definitely into long-term relationships, and she's also very, very, very cheap and chintzy when it comes to money. She likes to hold on to her money, be responsible, grow her money. She likes to nurture her money. She doesn't like to waste it and spend it. Actually, Venus in Cancer is very, very good with money. She doesn't spend it on frivolous things. She wants to know that it's around for her family. So there's a sense of value, holding on to value, nurturing value to help it grow, and definitely longer term relationships. She's not really openly flamboyant in Cancer. She's a lot more subtle with how she flirts, but it is definitely a really loving energy. So that should impact some of you in a really nice way this week. Let's get a little bit more specific to what I think all Scorpios should look at all the time, and that's where their ruling dignitaries are. Everybody should know. Now, we all know that Pluto is in Aquarius. It's going to retrograde back into Capricorn until the end of the year, where it'll come back into Aquarius. But it stays in the like with about 5 degrees of where it is, so it's going to keep impacting the slow moving planets that it's impacting. It's going to keep impacting them, and it's going to keep impacting your natal suns, which don't change really for the rest of the year. Pluto is square to the nodes right now, and it will be square to the nodes until I believe July 17th. It'll be when the nodes start to actually go into the new signs, Libra, south node, and Aries, north node. It's going to leave. Yes, the south node is going to leave Scorpio. But Pluto is square to the nodes, which we've definitely talked about before. It's sort of like a turning point for humans. Like, where is our future going? This week, because of where Venus is, it is going to be quincunx to Venus. So it could be financial issues, family relationships, might be challenges, maybe finances with family dynamics. There could be challenges, but it's because there's toxins there that need to be released. And that's where there are frustrations. And so maybe you've been setting on something, something hasn't been right, or you've tried to keep something hidden, or somebody's tried to keep it hidden from you. Especially around this full moon is when all of that will come up. And then Mars actually has a lot more going on than Pluto. Mars all week is square to Chiron, or through the 6th. So it's not all week. It's square to Chiron and square to Jupiter through the 7th. It's trine to Neptune all week long. And it's in Cancer. So it's conjunct your natal suns if you are in the 3rd decan of Cancer, because Mars is at 20 degrees and on of Cancer now. So what does this mean? You may not be seeing yourself or your actions correctly because of low self-esteem or insecurities. It could also be, you could also be prone to think injuries have healed faster than they actually have. It's best to go slow this week and be as gentle with yourself as possible. especially when it comes to judging yourself too harshly or pushing yourself too far, thinking, well, I should be ready for this at this point. No, you shouldn't. You should be where you are right now. You should not feel like you have to get anything done. And I know that your natal suns are not in Cancer, so Mars is not conjunct your natal suns, but it is going to be trine to your natal suns if you are a Scorpio 3. And so this could actually help to rebalance you, and this energy could actually help make you realize that there are things that you should be treating yourself a little bit nicer. It could be a very healing period for you guys. So let's get to I said one more thing, and this actually impacts everybody, not just Scorpios. So right now, if you look at the charts for this whole week, and for a while now actually, Saturn is sextile and trine to the nodes. It's sextile to the north node and trine to the south node. But Pluto is square the nodes. And what jumped out at me was the realization that this meant that law and contracts are keeping change from happening. But by July, when the nodes switch signs, that they won't be getting that kind of support because Saturn will have moved away as well. So there is a sense of currently, it's almost like Saturn doesn't want the world to change. The way that the laws or the traditions of the establishment is right now is the way they want it to stay, and we could be very, very stuck. But what's happening with Mercury and Uranus and Mercury retrograde right now, I think things are going to come out or be discovered that help push us forward. Just saying. So now let's get into the specifics. Scorpio 1, so that is if your natal suns are between 0 and 9 degrees Scorpio. Basically, Scorpio is born in October. There and about, okay? Maybe up to October 30th, 31st some years, but basically October Scorpios. Your natal suns are conjunct the south node. I'm reading this because I write it all down. I write it on conjunct the south node, which means a connection to or feeling good about where you came from, your talents, your natural gifts and abilities. Your natal suns are in direct opposition to Mercury retrograde, which means that you're going to feel this retrograde. It's going to, like, everywhere you turn, it's going to just be snapping you in the head. It's like, why is my phone fritzing? Why did those emails get deleted when I didn't, why is my car, why do I have a nail in my tire? Like, those kind of things are going to be frustrating you. They just are. It's going to be. Just an FYI, you could definitely chalk it up to Mercury retrograde. Also, you could find the way that it's impacting me too is that you're not speaking correctly. It's like you have your thoughts, but they're not being put into words very easily. That's another challenge. But good news is your natal suns are trine to Venus. So isn't that wonderful? At least by the 3rd, when Venus is at the very end of Gemini, the earliest of you, so those of you on the Libra Scorpio cusps, are going to start feeling that trine to Venus. So happiness, romantic, like lovey-dovey, your situations, your romantic situations, being able to reconcile or heal any kind of, maybe heal any bad hair you had, or make you feel comfortable with your looks or your own self-worth. All of those things will be happening to you guys over this week. And it's by the 3rd, so tomorrow, that the earliest Scorpios will start to feel it, but then by the end of the week, all of you will be feeling that. That's a very helpful energy. You are square to Pluto, which is your ruling dignitary. So there is a lot of tension. There's a lot of insistence. There's a lot of dissonance surrounding, I think, just change in general, not flowing as easily. But I also think it's just giving you a formidable character, because this is a long-term aspect that'll be going on for the next year. So it's just making you formidable, and could even be making you ruthless, absolutely ruthless. Like, I'm going to get my way and I'm going to do it, and I don't give what's in my way. That kind of energy. But of course, people are forming opinions. Now, you don't have to care about other people's opinions at all. But if you do care about certain people's opinions, just an FYI, this ruthlessness is going to be coming out without you even realizing it. Your natal suns are trine to Saturn, and that will be going on definitely all week. That's a long-term aspect. So that is harmony with laws, rules, and regulations, or even contracts, and definitely authority figures. And then we have a quincunx to Neptune, which is also a long-term aspect. And that is just maybe the way that you imagine things is causing frustration because it was less attached to reality. And there could be this sense of letting yourself get carried away before you know the reality of the situation, before you've actually measured it. It's okay to be inspired by Neptune, but it's not okay to be guided by Neptune. You still have to use this up here to really guide you, because Neptune will distract you. Could also be it could also be allergies. It could also be coming up like physically, like with a lot of phlegm and stuff and cough and like phlegmy stuff. It could just be irritations right now. Scorpio 2s. So for this week, your natal suns are by the 4th. Hold on. So Scorpio 2s only on the 4th. That's right. Only on the 4th is your natal sun, or through the 4th. So from May 2nd to the 4th, your natal suns are going to be opposite from Mercury retrograde. It's just going to be a pain in the ass for the first couple of days of this week. You'll feel it real bad. Just like I told with Scorpio 2s, who are going to get it for most of this week. The sun, you are also opposite the current sun. So it's you guys that are going to have your natal suns conjunct the full moon. So especially for you, it is a time to purge. This is a Scorpio full moon conjuncting your Scorpio sun. So it is a time to purge, and really a time of power, especially if you guys are into like spell casting and stuff, or even just manifesting. There is that beautiful, powerful full moon to manifest with. And I have done a video on how to best manifest with a water moon. Check that out on Born Without Boundaries Tarot. It gives you a great manifestation technique to use to really magnify how to manifest with the moon. But you'll be especially powerful this week, especially powerful. And then we have your natal suns also in opposition to Uranus. So this sense of this sense of the uncommon or the unusual, sort of being obsessed with it right now and not being able to let it go. There's a reason why you're paying attention to it. I'm sure that it has something to do with the fact that it's part of the metamorphosis that we're all going through. Could also be not tech issues, but a sense of really great ideas or how to use it in some way. Not quite sure. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know how this is impacting you. But with Uranus, you will be quite surprising, or you will be surprised, and surprises will keep popping up, both good and bad. I think that you'll find them fascinating. And then we have a quincunx to Chiron, which was a long-term aspect. You've been dealing with that for a while, and there's nothing to really exacerbate Chiron, but with all these oppositions, it could put extra stress on you this week. So if you feel more worn, if you feel less secure about who you are, if you feel like you don't feel good enough about who you are, it's because Chiron is being exacerbated by all these other energies. Not that they're directly in. It's just because you've got so much to deal with this week with all these oppositions. Just a bunch of stress. But know that you are going to be most powerful around this full moon, and however you feel, just trust your faith and use that energy to manifest and let go and release all those toxins that you have felt you needed to hide, because you don't, and they're getting in your way. 3. Scorpio 3s, your natal suns are trine to Neptune, which is long term, which is actually really creative energy. It's beautiful for composing and creating art and being inspired and actually healing, even past life experiences. Now Mars this week is also trine to your natal sun. That's really great energy. It means that you will be higher energy, or you will be able to put a lot of energy into creativity right now, and to be able to just spit out those ideas and and help them take form. It's also just generally a time to feel really good about your body, or get to feel good, heal your physical self if you've had any ailments or if they've been messing with you in any way. So this is a really good week to get on that. Your natal sun is this week quincunx to Jupiter. That's just frustrating. Like, you have confidence and there's a boldness to you and even an optimism, but it's almost like you're getting a little bit ahead of yourself. You can get frustrated because you expect things to grow faster than really you should be. Like, if you could just, with this quincunx to Jupiter for this week, you could just quell your expectations and not expect, but just be willing and be open to growth and opportunity, then you'll actually get the best out of this aspect. So you let me know, guys, in the comments below how this energy is impacting you. Also, subscribe to the channel so that you always get this weekly forecasts. And definitely follow me over on Born Without Boundaries Tarot, and come over to see your week ahead tarot card reading, guys. I love you, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.